Many systems, whether it's a system of thought or a system of behavior, of identity, are circular. They form a loop. I do this because of this, and because of this, I do this, and because of that, I do this, and round it goes. Now, all closed systems are ultimately toxic. So to expand, to reduce the toxicity, the concentration of any one pattern of energy, one must break the loop. One must disintegrate from the circle that one is within. And in order to facilitate that rupture, that waking up from a cycle, from a circle, one must be betrayed. One must meet with a collision that leads to eruption, that leads to awakening from what? From the cycle, from the loop, from the circle. And in that awakening, there is a transcendence. To transcend the cycle, the circle, the loop. And in transcendence, there is the connection to something more, something bigger than the loop, something beyond. In other words, a larger pattern, a larger sense of self. Because it's too big to function without a loop. But when we rupture a given cycle, a given circle, we move into the unknown, into the chaos, and out of that unknown and out of that chaos form a new cycle, a new circle, a new pattern, a new loop. And the loop, the loop's function is to hold 90% or at least 70% or more of the routine. You can think of the crisis of managing 1 trillion bits in a computer, let alone 1 trillion bits in a finger. It's a crisis. If we have to code 10 trillion zeros and ones just to get an image of an iris to show for a single second, it's too much bandwidth for the conscious mind. If we have to generate language over and over again out of chaos, it's too much for the conscious mind. Regulate the heart, determine basic paradigms and operating assumptions, decide to be physical. It's too much. The purpose of a loop, which is a dream, which is a form of sleep, is to hold the vast majority of the pattern in stasis so that within that narrow beam of freedom, that bandwidth that we can tolerate to be aware of consciously, we can navigate. We can navigate within that default. It's like the base within which we can a cappella, in which we can dance and move. And so betrayal, discord, dis-ease, trauma, shock, shakes the pattern. And we fall out of grace, out of the circle, out of the loop. into chaos, into the unknown, which is intolerable. And so we form a new loop, hopefully more expansive than the last. And in the same vein, criticism, antipathy, negativity is the language, the technology, the tool of breaking free, of leaving a circle, so that we can form a grander one, so that we can connect with something bigger. Everything has a positive and a negative side if you look through the lens of polarity. And the conscious mind is an observing and measuring device of polarity, and thus a generator of polarity. You could say that the conscious mind is the knowledge of good and evil, is in its birthing the fall from the garden, the fall out of grace, into distinction. Our conscious mind is processing this moment with distinction. White, maroon, gold. Gold in this shape, gold in this shape. Black, black in this shape, black in this shape. Patterns, colors, purple, green. Language, sound in contrast with silence, in contrast with other sound. This entire moment within the conscious mind is constructed by trillions upon trillions of refracted distinctions, meaning this uninterrupted ecology of all that is being sliced and diced in order to produce a moment that is distinct from any other moment, to create a throat clearing that is distinct from speaking. Everything about this moment is a refraction of distinction through language used to create and perceive consciousness as we know it. And in that distinction, where one thing appears to be separate, because distinction is an illusion, it falls away with language, it falls away with the dissolving of the conscious mind into the grander, into the larger awareness of the transcendent, the ecological mind that reveals the web of connection that tethers every single thing to every other thing, that rebuilds the world we chop into pieces. And so, in the dance, in the cycle, we are asleep when it is too perfect, when it is too graceful. There's no reason to put it into words. It's just so nice. Everything is just so very nice. Why would we possibly cut it up into bits? It's so lovely. And slowly the unconscious consumes the conscious, but with a shock, a rupture, a reminder, a need to delineate what is wrong, what is off key, what is dissonant. We descend into language. It's endlessly fascinating for a human being to discuss their ailments. You know, the throbbing elbow is a 7 out of 10 in intensity. Sometimes it moves here, and then I can't sleep at night, and this and that. It's endlessly fascinating to chronicle chronic and extreme suffering. Can write a volume about a moment in time. But as the sense of interconnectivity expands, as the sense of grace expands, the details of the moment constrict and disappear. The sense of being one without need to articulate expands. The sense of boundaryless connection expands. The more connected we are, and the more connected one thing is to another, viewed through a different lens, the less troubled we are with the illusion of slicing it into bits, the less worried we are about language. It's just so nice to be here. And so, one of the cycles that we're all in is the cycle of falling asleep and falling in circle, and the cycle of interrupting the pattern and waking up, falling asleep, entering the cycle, the circle, and waking up and breaking the pattern, disrupting the order, disrupting the symmetry, and waking up, disrupting the dream, and disrupting the dream. We disrupt the nighttime dream when we wake up, and we disrupt the waking dream when we sleep. You could say that there is a breath, an endless breath, of falling into cycle and breaking the pattern, falling into cycle, breaking the pattern. And when we fall in love, we fall into the circle. When we fall out of love, we awaken to the imperfection of the object of our affection. Fall in love and feel the perfection. We wake up and break the awareness. We remove the person from the pedestal. How would we ever wake up were it not for the many imperfections within and without? Hi, I'm Dane Rose. All knowledge begins with a paradigm, and out of that paradigm comes an idea, an awareness that we adopt, reject, or synthesize into something better. It doesn't become wisdom, it doesn't become useful until we take action, until we integrate it into not only our thoughts, but our feelings, our body, our words, and our way of being. For that to occur, we have to move from the passive media paradigm into more active engagement. In the link below, in the More Information section, is an invitation to join a very small, deliberately filtered, high-quality discussion with a group of people who share a common language and want to work with these ideas, with me and with one another, with the sole goal of creating 10 times more sustainable well-being for ourselves and those around us per unit of energy invested. Thank you for watching.